We're doing it live, are we?
We're doing it. 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 We're live.
Slow mo.
I enjoyed see Ben there. Good evening, weary travellers. Proper Garth Marenghi. Greetings, travellers. You don't know who Garth Marenghi is, do you?
No.
You don't care about any of that. You hear Hannah? Dark place, dark place, dark place, dark place.
Oh, I thought she was saying LARPing.
She wasn't saying LARPing, she was saying dark place.
Ah, okay.
Hello, Ben. I hope you are okay.
Yeah.
I hope you're all right, buddy. I know you are, but I hope you're all good. All the love to Ben. Hey, Pete. Hope you are well. Les.
Howdy.
Shannon, I got my hair trimmed. Special.
I was going to say, I thought you were putting the finger out. You were having a haircut. I was like,
I'm going to I might cut it all off, mate. You know what I mean? But one of these days. Tony, isn't it your birthday today, Tony? What are you doing on
there?
there?
You should be out.
Happy birthday. Happy
birthday. Yeah.
Carlos, hello, buddy. Ben again, better in the riff. Yeah, I mean, we had to get some special guests on. I love having Ben on and Rye, but they're not special anymore, are they?
That's what I was saying last week. They're totally not.
They're special to us.
Part of the
Brad, how you doing, man?
Got a little thing from Brad to show off later.
Oh, cool. Aaron, love the Monkeys win that you got. That is a thing of beauty. But Aaron won the teenage. I think it was the Hero Turtle.
Yeah.
Carded. Very cool. Very, 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 very cool. Hello, Kieran. Ollie, how you doing, buddy? Triple G. That's a good comics. Hey, Steve.
Good.
It's Sean Connery, actually. Betatron's Toy Chest. How you doing, man? Hope you are well. Benny Boy. Everyone is in the house. Viper. Good evening. Danestar. Hope you're well. Good milestones on Hidden Chest Gaming. If you're not following Hidden Chest Gaming, follow Hidden Chest Gaming. All the good stuff.
So I'm trying to take this all in and just see how good I should be doing it for when I'm next in control. But
what's
keep
that?
Keep going.
I'm doing it. I'm
I'm
rolling. Easy, Tiger. It's literally the only way I can. Easy, Tiger. It's such a good name. Tiger.
Oopa.
Easy, Tiger. Literally the only way I can. Easy, Tiger. What are you doing, Andy, to me? You're looping me. What are you doing?
No, my phone wasn't working, so I was like, okay, maybe I should try and get the Paddy to work, but now the phone is working.
You in? You good?
Yeah, I think so. You can still see me, right?
Callum. Well, you're about to find out because we got a couple of absolute, if you'll excuse the phrase, wizards when it comes to D&D about to join us. Paul, how you doing, man? I've got something to talk about Toy Scavenger, a very generous offer, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on when everyone
put the baby watching this, make her go straight to sleep.
Yeah, he'll go straight. We're going to talk about D&D. The baby will drop straight off. It'll be fun. Maddie, happy birthday for the other day.
When I saw that it was Tony's birthday as well, I was like, oh man, the birthday's quite close together.
Very close together. But, also, 30 years apart.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Sai. Good evening, my friend. There is Can you not hear the background music? Have I got it too low?
No, I can hear it. I think
it's just there. It's just there. That's all right. Retro said, "Good evening, my friend." Hello, Colin. Lovely pickup as always. More small soldiers for the collection. All good stuff.
I also got sent a picture of some Mars attacks.
He's getting on the Mars attacks, which is all good. Right.
Oopa.
We shall jump back to this in a memento. So we are talking D&D tonight. We will do some toy stuff as well, but I want to introduce you guys to some buddies of mine that I've been playing D&D with for a while. They know a lot about D&D. I know absolutely nothing about D&D, so I try.
You know more than me about D&D because you play it.
Well, I know what the D&D stand for, so I know a little bit more than you.
Isn't that Dungeons and Dragons, though?
It does stand for Dungeons and Dragons. He's learning. So I'm going to introduce now from Tales from the Lost Emporium, Minion Gary, or just Gary to us, and Bushy. There he is.
Hey.
There they are.
Evening.
Thank you very much for having us on.
Thank you for coming on. Absolute pleasure to have you guys. I mean, so just to set the scene. Every Sunday, I joined these lovely two gentlemen along with Pete, who owns the most tasty pizza parlor in all of Camden, Lost Boys Pizza. Get yourself down there, and then when you're down there, take a 20-sided dice. Roll that 20, as big as that if you got one. Roll that 20-sided dice, and if you roll a 20, he'll comp the pizza. You can't say fairer than that.
This is why I actually went and bought some dice. I now have a 20-sided dice.
The best,
I'm up
the
for
best
the pizza challenge.
And he's angling for free pizza. So yeah, and Johnny, we all know Johnny Monkey from Monkey's Emporium, and some other incredibly awesome people. But these guys run all sorts of like different types, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But different types of gaming, be it long campaigns and very, very short campaigns, from less than an hour to a couple of years.
I was desperately thinking, could we have managed to get a 10-minute session in just to introduce Andy? But I could plan a 10-minute session. But Dan, we play on a Sunday, and some of the encounters I've planned on there are like, oh, this will just be 2 minutes, and then 2 hours later, we've still not moved on from the first thing.
Well, this is something I do want to talk about because both Bushy and Gary are dungeon masters in their own. Gary is the dungeon master for the game we play on Sunday, but Bushy does his own gaming as well. So, what's, I guess, my first question for you guys? Let's say Bushy first. What makes a good dungeon master in D&D?
Oh man. Hit me with the philosophical questions.
Basic question. What is a dungeon master?
Well, this will incorporate that. This will incorporate that.
Okay. So, collaboration, right? Collaboration is the key for us. So all we're doing as dungeon masters or keepers or games masters or however what they want to call us is just helping the players tell a really good story and have a good time. So as long as there's a lot where people go, and classically it's always like, oh, we've got to try and defeat the dungeon master. He's against us because he controls the bad guys. And it's not that at all. You want to play it fairly to the point where, if you do daft things, you end up on the ground like many of us did on Sunday. But you also want to make sure that whatever kind of crazy ideas your players come up with, you can help them on that storytelling essentially.
So do you guys? So Gary, do you ever find it, not with us obviously because we're absolutely delights to play with, but so Andy, to answer your question, when Dungeon Master controls the game with regards to scenarios and they control like the encounters, so the bad guys and whatnot, but they don't control the game as in it can be very one route, you go down there and you turn left and do this and that, or it can be multiple scenarios and what do the guys want to do. So Gary, do you ever find it, have you ever been frustrated when you've set something up with some very careful planning and the guys you're playing with have decided to go completely off piste and
yes, many so I guess what you've never seen, Dan, Bushy knows this and me and him talk about this a lot of the time, is as a DM, you do a lot of prep before you get to the game. So I can spend a good couple of hours planning our Sunday night session. And then you guys can decide you wanted to take the path to the left. Now, over time, you develop what I would call coping mechanisms with that. And I have to say, as a DM, you're just providing the loose framework for everybody else to tell a story and have fun. So you're playing every other character in that world, and it's up to you if you do silly voices or not. You don't have to. We have
lots of silly voices from both Bushy and Gary on our Sunday night stream.
Sometimes it can help with immersion, but it's not critical. And
we found out that one of Gary's silly voices in particular was pretty hard to do coming off the back of COVID.
Oh man, that screech one killed me. And I think the other thing is if you. It sounds really cheesy and sort of like an actor saying it, but it's very much improv. You can plan everything, but always be ready to improv. Some of the best sessions we've had on our Sunday night, I've openly told the characters afterwards, I've gone, I improved 90% of that. I'd got loads of stuff planned and we didn't go there, and then I just ran with it. And that sort of thing comes with time. Just the more I would say I've only been a DM for about 4 years, and it was because of Bushy that I started DMing, and I was an awful player. Like, I made Bushy's life hell.
I love the fact you just asked Gary about how does he deal with people not doing what you expect.
Bushy's like,
that's Gary all over.
Yeah. I was one of those people, and so I know what was going through my mind when I was going, I'm going to try and mess him up. This is going to be so chaotic if I do this. So,
Gary's the D&D equivalent of the Call of Duty guy. It's like, nuke.
I'm a reformed bad player, because then I saw how much effort goes behind the screens, and I'm like, oh, you've just ruined all my plans. But it's sort of yes and. If you've ever come across that improv term. I think that's good.
There is a little bit there. I think as you get more comfortable with it, you get more comfortable with guiding players. So if they, I had one years ago where, and I was playing, but we were adamant we were going to go to this windmill, which was basically just there as background filler. And he was like, "Oh yeah, so you travel over there, you turn up, and it's called No Clue Windmill." And so what do you want to do? We were like, oh, and it took us so long to get the hint that there was no clue to anything that we needed at this windmill.
Well, I seem to remember not that long ago, we were playing a session and Johnny decided to go and buy some sunglasses at the towns. And basically that Johnny buying some sunglasses, some special knockoff sunglasses, took a good sort of 40 minutes of our... but now I've made that sound quite boring, but it isn't.
They were imaginatively titled Bray-Bands.
Bray-Bands. So, Andy, what I'm saying is that there are D&D campaigns that Gary and Bushy will follow. So there is a storyline.
Okay, that's something I was going to ask. Do you actually follow a storyline, or is it all just, as you say, you go left to the windmill of no clues, or you go right?
It's very much down to your DM. So I actually suffer a lot of anxiety with these things, because this has got a whole campaign. It tells you, it's got loads of encounters in there, tells you where your characters should be going, what clues lead to what. And I always pick these up and I read through them. And I'm like, I need to plan all this out. And I do encounters where I write it all out longhand and I do all this. And then I normally have a bit of a breakdown. And then I get in touch with Bushy and he's like, yeah, but dude, you improv most of it. So just use that as the backbone and then just run with it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's so much easy. So you've got a couple of styles. You can play this as a book and your DM takes you through it. And it's even got little boxes of text and it says, now the DM reads this. And it sets the scene for your characters to play. So you give them a problem. The classic one is if you're ever stuck as a DM for your characters to do something, you give them a really ornate door and you make it sound really scary. Like, oh, it's this dark wood and it's warped slightly and there's black iron hanging down from it and there's blood stains on the door frame. And then your characters will spend 2 hours carefully going up to this door and testing it out, checking it for traps, setting up a whole counter ambush in case there's a monster. And all you've done as a DM is given them a really good description. It's like, yeah, the door's open. It's not
Also, depends what team you're playing with, because I believe in our campaign, we would throw Bushy headfirst through it or something.
Definitely. And that's the classic thing. So there's Deborah Ann Wall. She was in Daredevil.
She was.
I can't remember what character she played. And she's been in True Blood. Amazing actor, but she's got a couple of series on YouTube where she DMs, and I would rank her the best DM in the world. A lot of people like Critical Role, which is Matt Mercer, and a lot of people know him. But I think Deborah Ann Wallace, because when you see what she does and how she does it, and she's very much, she just goes with the party. And that's where that whole quote of give your party a door. And so you give them a rough outline of a problem or something to solve. It can be someone falling over in a tavern. There's always taverns because everybody likes to drink. And then you just let your players run. You can give them as much free reign or as little free reign as you like. I just got to say, loving all the chat. You guys have got such an awesome chat, by the way.
Well, I'm gonna go back to that. And just as Bushy said, Andy, the main thing for me, which I really enjoy, is exactly a combination of what both the guys said, which is it's not the DM versus, it's everyone wants to have a good laugh and a good giggle and progress the story forward and see what happens and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the DM could kill everyone like that. It would be easy to kill everyone immediately and then close the book and go, and now you're dead. And what's the point? You know what I mean? It's so let's show the guys some love. Some new faces. That's aiming you.
I mean, we've had Dan, even in the I hate to use the term limited because I don't think your D&D experience is limited. You very much do yourself down. You've done you are a pleasure to run a game with. I've got to say the way you jumped into it. It's those little unplanned things that tend to become the memorable bits, and I guess it's sort of building up your own little narratives and people taking away these memories. Oh, do you remember that session when we tried to throw one thing from a really fast moving motorbike to a really fast moving, and we could have just stopped and handed it over, but then we did it and then a character fell out and then everybody nearly died. And it's those crazy moments.
Well, my character and Pete's character Andy have a healthy competition of like that. So Kieran from Pete, isn't it the same as Warhammer? It isn't the same as Warhammer. It's the same as Warhammer in my mind, in the same way that Limp Bizkit and Morbid Angel are in the same section of HMV, but they're not in any way the same music, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you can or cannot use figures. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, we can't because we do it remotely.
Yes.
So there we go.
So there are virtual tabletops. So if you want to get into it online, if people are around the country and stuff and you can't connect, there are virtual tabletops. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and there's loads you can do with it. But there's two styles you can play. And Gary and myself, I always want to do the fancy stuff, but I can never have the time to plan it out, basically. But theatre of the mind is kind of where we sit within that camp, which always means that a lot of our rules when it comes to combat and the kind of the real detail of things is always a little bit more wishy-washy and airy-fairy because we don't have the map to go, oh, you're this far away from here and this is this. And so.
For me, it works really well because the things that you guys do are the things that I enjoy in it. You know, that I don't necessarily enjoy the minutiae of well, you know, your marker's 20 away and you need to be 15. So you know, the kind of the leniency with some of it for a good story is
we both always err on the side of fun. If you know, and there's rules we've overwritten. The rules, it even says one of the first rules in the main rule book is about having fun, and it's like if the rules get in the way of having fun, ditch them. Again, it's just getting around with your mates and having fun. It's escapism and just telling the story.
I was going to ask you something. Let's just quick go through them. So hello, Andy.
There's some really good questions coming up in this as well. I'm trying to keep track of every time I look over.
I'll go. So that's Pete. So yeah, the Lost Boys. Jeremiah have it.
Lost Boys Pete.
The Lost Boys Pizza Dice Challenge is very much a thing. Get yourself down to Lost Boys Pizza in Camden. Just in general, it's absolutely delicious. I was there the other week. We will get to toys because we've lit a fire under Gary with vintage toys and going in his loft and finding old ones. So we will get to that, David.
I was going to say, I've got a special one just for Andy as well.
Go on, show.
Can I do it now?
Show your special one.
What is it?
I've been addicted to your guys' channel for the last 2 weeks. I've like binge watched. I even went, and I know this is going to cause some contention. I even went over to Empire Toys to catch up on some of the back episodes.
Right. Say bye to Gary, everyone.
So I've been going through all my old toy boxes that my kids have been playing with and that my niece and nephew did. I managed to rescue from my folks. And I found one in particular that I think Andy might be useful. Now, this is older than me. I remember this toy from my grandparents' house. In fact, I've looked at the date on the bottom. It's actually the year I was born. But I've got a ton of toys.
1833.
Here's one, especially for you, Andy. I know you love cranes. Look at that, and it's got like the orangey tint to the glass. All the bits come out. Look at this, man! Cranes.
we see them a lot because there's like a space series. People in the chat know more about than I do, but we see them a lot. You know, with the big that green metal with the orange tint.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wonder if it's the same thing.
Oh, probably made by the same company.
Yeah,
it is. It's Matchbox.
Yeah.
Matchbox Super Kings. It's called Hercules.
There you go.
There we go.
I mean, how can you make a crane even better by calling it Hercules? Amazing.
It's still got all. Look, Andy, you'll be so excited by that. Look at that.
All the bits still.
You know what they're called, Andy? You know what they're called, mate?
All four of the feet.
They're called outriggers.
Is it Outriggers? Okay. You know what I did today? I built a Lego crane.
Yeah. Now Bush is watching this going, what's the deal with cranes?
I made a passing comment of like, oh, I like cranes because I got this for...
I can tell you when that was. That was end of April. You made that
it was, exactly. And then all of a sudden, everyone just started sending me and tagging me in all these pictures of cranes. I was like, I don't have like a weird fetish for cranes. I just said I appreciate like looking at them sometimes. But, yeah.
We're fairly convinced Andy doesn't even like Battle Beasts, but yeah, he has. He might have mentioned it 4 years ago. He quite likes them. And, so DM is a bit like the back. Yeah, lovely crane, lovely double crane there, guys. We enjoyed that. A bit like the bank for Monopoly. Yes, but probably more involved. I would.
And you don't have to be as grumpy.
Not
the
as
banker
grumpy.
Doesn't tell you where to go or help you around the thing, does it? I think the banker just gives you money, no?
Well,
sends you to jail.
No, when I'm the banker.
Yeah.
When I'm the banker, I just keep giving myself the money.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. Evening, Bushy and Gary.
Evening, everybody.
It's crazy to think D&D was first published back in 1974. We were just
The year I was born.
Let's have a look. We'll get some. I want to ask you guys a question first. Then we are going to get onto some questions from in there. But first, because we've got a good number of people watching, I need to say something. The toy scavenger, the absolute gent that he is, Paul. From later on tonight until Sunday at midnight, if you go to thetoyscavenger.com, his website of all amazing toy retro goodness, for Toy Division fans and alumni alike, there is a 20% discount.
Wow.
If you put TD20 in at checkout. So TD20, 20% off. This is not a sponsorship. This is just because he's an absolutely good egg and friend of Toy Division. So yeah.
For tonight only.
Till midnight on Sunday.
Oh wow! Okay.
Till midnight on Sunday, so 20% off. There's graded Hasbro's from little things.
Yeah.
Very very big things. So yeah, get on it. So the Toy Scavenger is it the Toy Scavenger? I did check and then I've forgotten. Hold on.
I would look, but if I touch my phone, I'm going to kill the stream. So I believe it is the
toyscavenger.com.
Yeah.
Go and get yourself a bargain. Yeah, TD20 in the comments. Ooh, right, I have a question for you. Then we're going to get to the proper questions because I've been thinking about this today. So, people that like Kate Bush got all a bit weird about Stranger Things using
gatekeepers. Yeah, me and Bushy have talked about this.
People that like Metallica went, well, I like Metallica before Stranger Things used Metallica. And then people that like D&D, in my mind, went, this is awesome. Loads more people are into D&D.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
That is, because we've got, oh, you mean we were bullied for all them years for liking D&D, and now it's cool. I mean, I've got to point out, Bushy was a shock for me. Me and Bushy worked together, and he's a full-blown jock. Like he is your typical high school jock, right? He's into all the sports, and he's a really buff, slightly smaller stature jock.
Which is thinking back in the day.
And he's got all this pent up rage. And we used to sit back to back at work, and it was probably about 6 months into it, and he turned around and goes, you know, I'm a fully paid up nerd as well, right? I was like,
there's a thing. So when I can't remember how long ago it was, but shortly after I started kind of really getting into role play games, there was a real issue with and it's going to sound ridiculous to everyone, I guess, because we're all like-minded, but with girls getting into role-playing games. And it, you know, like the Kate Bush thing and the Metallica thing and all that sort of stuff, there was a real kind of thing around it. And I guess I was lucky enough that my group of friends were not in that way inclined, and therefore I've always been used to having girls around the table and stuff. So but yeah,
I think it was was it a South Park episode that they started their games club, and then the girls joined and Cartman kicked off and kicked some more lads. It's a funny episode, if you remember what that is. Anyway, right. Let's see what people are saying. Viper. Is D&D hard to learn? Now, bear in mind, I'm a moron and I can almost play it now to a certain degree. So,
I think the proof would be with this guy. I mean,
if we can get Andy playing.
I guess it doesn't do itself any favor. If you watch a game of D&D from behind, like a traditional one around the table, there's lots of pens, there's lots of paper, there's lots of numbers and plus numbers, and people are rolling dice and instantly doing calculation. It looks like loads of maths. It's actually really easy. And even now, it's even better because there's an online tool called D&D Beyond, which I absolutely love, which we had to use because we switched to remote play. And it does all the hard maths for you. And it's like, you want to hit someone in the face with a sword? Go to where your sword is and click hit. And it rolls this magical dice on the screen, and it tells you if you've hit or not.
You can see the dice roll. It's very gratifying and makes the rolling noises. It's fantastic.
And you can buy different types of dice, some that smoke comes off and some with flames. Oh, that's a whole new sub genre.
That's a whole new way to crash all of our servers all at once.
So absolutely, D&D is brilliant. I would say it depends. Find yourself a good group. Check out your friendly local gaming store. You guys always support amazing toy stores. I would say, an equal amount of love goes to friendly local game stores. I live above one, fortunately, so I once, when I first rocked up there, I just went in and goes, because again, predominantly they sell Warhammer, and I went into the guy boss and I said, "Oh, do you do D&D?" He goes, "No, I've always wanted to play though." I went, "Oh, I've DM'd some games. Do you want me to run some?" He goes, "Yeah, we'll do a starter session." I said, "Okay." Now, Bushy will tell you shouldn't really run a game for more than 6 people, which is the wise choice. I turn up there on
just because of the length of time it takes to get through everyone.
Everyone needs their spotlight time. I rock up and there's like 22 people for one game, and they're all brand new. But we did it, and everybody loved it, and that was 22 brand new players in one night.
I've got this image now of Gary going, "Do you do D&D?" I've always wanted to, and just going whipping out like a tank.
Always carry dice for an emergency.
Always got a 20 a D20. What the It's funny you say that, because one of my concerns, for maybe it's a bit too dramatic, when we play, is that frequent watchers of Toy Division will know that I don't know when to shut my mouth. And I and there you go. And when you're D&Ding, it's obviously like, okay, so it's somebody's go. If you're like in a combat situation or whatever, so it's that person's go, and they get their time and whatever. But when it's just a general kind of a general conversation, sometimes I'm like, oh, I've got something I want to say, but someone's talking. But because you're doing it online, there is that you got to respect people's, and I'm conscious of that, because I'd hate to be seen as that gobby dude that just chats over people. I mean, I don't mind doing it to you, Andy, in Toy Division. Talking about
remember, Dan, it's D&D. You're escapism. You're being someone different.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So
he's being a conscientious person in his world.
I'll be a mute. Yeah, but so I feel like if you were together in the same room, that would just go away for me, because you've got those physical, the nuances of like, you know what I mean? Like when you're with someone, it's easier to interrupt without interrupting, and so on and so on. But
that vibe you get when you're all in one room around town, it is a whole new ball game, and it like all new craziness comes out. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm back at what Bushy said with regards to sort of females playing. That we have an awesome lady. I say lady. Female in our group called Shari, who is the perfect amount of knowledge. This is why I enjoy a group, because, like you say, when you get the good mix of people that know what they're doing but are also up for a good laugh and like really obscure like 80s film references.
which Sherry is the youngest of our group, which is really funny because there's off times she makes us feel old by going, I have no idea what you're talking about, and we're like,
it's when you just see her eyes glaze over.
and we're talking like say obscure 80s films, and or I've dropped in a load of lyrics from an 80s hair band, and that an NPC is monologuing, and she's like, this makes no sense. And everybody else on screen is going, oh, this is amazing.
In her defense, she neither cares nor pretends to, and just goes, guys, we need to move. Okay, right. Keeps everyone on track.
You let us have our time. Yeah.
She keeps everyone on track. Let's have a look. Never played D&D. Sounds interesting. It is interesting. And again, I will say that D&D, I guess, is the catch-all term for different types of role-playing games. It's not all D&D would involve a dragon. That's fair to say.
Yeah. It's the most, it's like the most easily accessible. It's done by Wizards of the Coast. There's tons of material available. There's loads of free scenarios online that you can do. There's an amazing starter set, which again, if you're a first-time DM, that's where I did my first DM. I did it for my kids and my other half. And I was really nervous, but I thought, it doesn't matter if it goes wrong here. And their first adventure is a thing called Mines of Fandelver. It comes in this box, and there's a load of pre-genned characters, so you don't have to roll characters or anything. And in this book, it's written for the DM. It goes, okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to set the scene. I want you to read this little bit of text, and you read this little bit of text. And then it goes, well done. It says, now give your players the option. Ask them if they want to go to the left of the road or go to the right of the road. And then, as it goes through the book, it then starts to skip over those baby steps. And then it just says, oh, around the next corner, there's 30 goblins.
Run with it. Yeah.
And it's beautifully written.
I just got out. So with that, kids. So if you can run a game for kids, it's fantastic because children, well, generally speaking, they're usually more imaginative. But they don't have the kind of the preconceptions, you were saying about interrupting people. They don't have that kind of that.
They just go for it.
Yeah, they're just like they're fully in it, and that's it. And it can make some really fantastic storytelling.
And I bet you can go for the voices and the role play like.
Last summer, a museum I live near, they wanted to do a mini Comic-Con thing. And then they got in touch with my friendly local gaming store, who then put them in touch with me and said, would you run some D&D events throughout the day? And I'm like, yeah. So I came up with a whole short scenario of set in a fantasy setting. A small band of adventurers go to a town. They want to get ice cream. They go to an ice cream shop, and there's an ice cream monster emerges because magic's involved. And they have to defeat the ice cream monster, and they get to pick their favourite flavour at the end of it. And we rolled these plushy dice. So every time they made a roll, so whenever you do anything in D&D, you want to punch a monster, you want to persuade someone that the coat they're wearing is yours. If you want to try and jimmy open a window, if you want to try and ride a ferocious beast, you roll a d20 and then you add your relevant skills. The higher you roll, the better. Hang on, I'm going to get a 20 is really good. It means something amazing has happened.
Free pizza.
Conversely, a 1 is Dan's favourite role. It means something really bad has happened and the DM gets to punish you.
So on that, a higher roll isn't good if you're rolling a table of variants and it's 100 and you're dipped in magical goo. Anyway, but that's another conversation. Yeah, so Andy, if you roll what they call a natural 20, that's fireworks and because you've just smashed it.
Everything and more that you wanted to happen happens.
And certain things, so it can be like double damage and all sorts of stuff if it's a natural 20. It's also a free pizza at Lost Boys Pizza if you roll a natural 20. If you crit, which I'm assuming means critical, which is a 1, bad things happen. So for example, if me and you were fighting and I had a spear and I rolled a natural 20, I'd throw it, it would stab you, go right through you, bounce back off something behind you, and I'd catch it again or something. If I critted with a 1, I would stab myself in the chest with it.
Yeah.
You say?
So that's how the game handles. So it's not just storytelling. You go, I want to go and chop this goblin's head off. It's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. That's the dice is only there to add that random element. of things. Because otherwise, you would turn up somewhere and go, "I want to kill all the bad guys." It's like, yeah, you've killed all the bad guys. Well done, we've won. Hey.
Well, without the rolling bit, it is just a big story.
Yeah.
It's a choose your own adventure story as opposed to a randomized kind of thing. So, also going back to your story, Gary, I'm 100% going to believe in my mind that your first DMing experience, you're playing with your kids, and you destroyed them.
Well, if we've got time, I've got an interesting story about that.
Tell me that at the end. We've got to get some more questions. I'm being very rubbish with the questions. Toy Scam, never played it, give it a shot. Well, now is your time. Now is the time.
Do it.
I feel like there's enough of us in the chat that have all said that we've never played it, but we want to, or we should try and do something.
We should try and do something, honestly.
Yeah.
Dan, how would a complete novice go about getting involved in some online D&D goodness? Oh, I'd also just like to point out that when Gary mentions his local gaming, it's Shade Glass Games, and that's in Nottingham. So if any gaming requements, Shade Glass Games.
Am I right saying the first step would be buy dice?
Yeah, dice is good.
Yeah? Am I part of the game now?
Well,
Yeah. You're always welcome in our game.
I'm gonna counter that and say if you're playing online on the
app,
you don't need dice because it rolls it for you.
But that takes away the fun, surely. I want to know what this weird pyramid does. I want to know what this.
It's a slippery slope, though, Andy. It's a slippery slope. You start out with one set, and before you know it, you have a drawer full of dice.
Yeah.
Looking at them, I was like, "How do you pick?" There's actually quite. I've got a weird compulsion to collect stuff, and now I'm like dice.
But
you should check out Dice Dungeons as well, or Dice Prisons for when they roll badly.
Yeah, you punish them.
Bushy has only got Bushy's only got a backdrop on because he's embarrassed that behind him it's just stacks of dice. That's all he's got.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's actually like a 1970s style inbuilt wardrobe, which I've not ripped out of the room that I'm in currently.
Full of dice. So Easy Tiger, to answer your question, I'm going to put it over to Bushy and Gary. I know that Bushy, you're running some new stuff online at the moment. So how would a total novice go about getting involved in some online D&D? This total novice got involved because Johnny from Monkey's Emporium said, "Come and play some D&D," and I went, "Oh, I'll come play some D&D." So
So if you can be predominantly online, there's a few ways I would say. Check out some Discord servers. I will have a look. I do have some which are like looking for groups and role play based. So they're all there and they've got the full list of however many role playing games there are. But you essentially subscribe to a channel within that Discord, and then you just have loads of people saying, they're US based or West Coast or East Coast or UK based or Spanish or wherever. This is the game. This is the kind of game they're looking to run, and we need 5 players. And you could, it's going to run every 4 weeks on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock, or whenever it. And so that's one way. Roll20. So that's when we talk about the tabletops, the virtual tabletops. Roll20 is probably one of the main ones that's quite easy to access. It's web-based. That again has a looking for groups section in it. So you can go on, you can have a look, and you can see what takes your fancy. The other thing I would say is if you have a group of you, just grab the quick start guides because they're free
and just play it
and just wing it because it's so much fun. And as you'll get stuff wrong. I mean, we get stuff wrong all the time, and you just laugh at it and then move on, and it inevitably becomes a thing like a crane, and you kind of it all becomes part of that.
I was about to make reference to my cunning dodge. Then I realised that that's a bit too. That's a very inside.
You and me both.
Yeah.
You'll find what I would say is with groups of generally unknown people. Obviously, you don't know how you're going to get on with people. We all inevitably do clash with people, so just bear in mind. I would always say, if you have a group of people that you're comfortable with, do that. Get the group of 3 of you, 4 of you together, and just wing it for an evening and have a blast.
Yeah, have a drink, have some pizza, and just play some D&D. Like I say, doing it in person is something I'm really looking forward to when I come and see you guys. That's going to be Excellent. Dan Bush, this is definitely for Bushy and Gary. I've already said my favourite character in D&D is Jeremy Irons from the film Dungeons. Who are your favourite D&D characters?
Okay, I mean established characters, because what you got to bear in mind is Wizards of the Coast, they've published stories and they have named characters in all the adventures. So I have a soft spot for Jarlaxle that I keep throwing into all our adventures because he's quite cool. But I think my absolute favourite is one called it's Minsk and Boo. So it's quite fun. It's in some of the online games. I think it's some of the Baldur's Gate games. And he's a human ranger, shaved headed. He's got tattoos, and he has on his shoulder, he's always got this tiny little hamster, which is called Boo. So the ranger guy is called Minsk, and the little hamster is called Boo. But that hamster is actually a giant space hamster that's been shrunk down. And they've just brought out a source book which has the rules for playing unshrunken giant space hamsters.
I don't know if
so funny.
I don't know if you guys have seen series 3 of The Boys.
Yeah.
There's a pretty nutty hamster, you know?
Yeah, we can't go into what happens there because we're PG rated.
Yes,
I know the bit you're talking about.
Minsk and Boo. Bushy, what about you, my friend?
So the way that I got into D&D was probably through reading a lot of the books first. So Drizzt Do'Urden, who is he becomes a ranger, but he's a dark elf, and they historically start out very badly. And he was very different to the rest of them. But there's a whole series of books there through the Forgotten Realms. So he's always stuck with me through that side. Yeah.
My favourite character is a legendary rogue called Lord Flashheart, who currently plays on Sundays in the Tales of the Lost Emporium.
He's currently stuck in hell, right? Selling his soul and any other souls he can get his hands on.
He's stuck in wherever he needs to be stuck in. I think we might have answered that. Yeah, I think everyone's pretty happy that.
Oh God, yeah. Look, any exposure, you know. I remember thinking like the Jeremy Irons film when that came out. It's like, oh my God, they're doing a D&D film. And only this week the new trailers dropped, and the most excited I was in it. There features an owl bear and a mimic, and I was just like, yeah, I don't care how bad the film is. It's got an owl bear and a mimic in, which are iconic.
And a gelatinous cube.
Yes, which there's a toy coming out of. Yeah.
Which is
like, what the flip is that?
Brad, I guess I look at it like, you know, are we happy in the toy world that, you know, people, you know, that there's more Master Universe or more, you know, it's just more of the stuff you like, isn't it? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but getting more people into it. Like you guys said, when I was painting my Nurgle army very, very badly back in the late 80s, I didn't think that it would become cool. But there we go. I suffered through the early years because I'm very old. There we go, everyone. Gary suffered, so we don't have to.
Yeah, I suffer, everybody, and I think it's only today. It might have been on your guys' Facebook post or I saw somewhere on Facebook. Someone posted a C.S. Lewis comment, and I checked it out. And to paraphrase it, he says, you know, everybody looks down on us if we're an adult and we act childish. And he's like, the most adult thing you can do is to still be like a child. And those ones that are doing the looking down are the ones that are in the wrong. And that resonated massively. I've always been an awkward geek, and I just love it that it's so open now. You know, collecting toys. I've still got all my old Action Force toys here, and it's just amazing.
Mate, the worst thing one can be guilty of is boring, in my opinion. So it's all good for me. What's Tony saying? Played it at school with his dinner hour, with his teacher, Mr. Clay. Graph paper. You remember graph paper? Yeah, make out a little. If I come down and see you, Gary, I'm bringing Dungeon Quest. We're playing Dungeon Quest.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
It's
definitely
my all-time favourite. That and Oi, That's My Leg are my two favourite of those sort of games. But
Trolls in the Pantry.
1981. Yep. We're all old.
Well, if you want to say old, so this T-shirt I'm wearing, again, this is something else I put on special.
Look at this.
An Afterburner one. So I got this with my Sega Master System in 1987. Still fits. Oh,
still fits. As he turns around and it's cut right down the back.
I'm not showing the back.
How does
Ben,
that still fit?
Gary hasn't done research. He just knows this stuff.
I think he's referring to the crane.
Probably the crane, yeah.
Oh, I have loved watching all it. I'm fully addicted to this channel now. You guys do some amazing stuff.
Hey, D&D. I'm
AD&D.
getting slaughtered now by Christian. I only got into it because of Stranger Things, which I've never watched. Still haven't watched.
Yes, he's
I've
lying.
only just got into metal. That's true. I sold some metal T-shirts on eBay from stuff I had when I was a kid. Some like old Guns N' Roses stuff from like the late 80s, early 90s, and I got like 150, 200 pound each for these T-shirts because they're tour T-shirts. But before I sold them, I put them on, and I thought, I mean, I'm bigger now than I was then, and they are way too big for me now. Way too big for me. I'm like, what did I look like?
So I'm just going to go off on this tangent. Something else I watched today. I go down some crazy rabbit holes for background noise. I was out of Toy Division videos to watch, and this thing popped up, and it was Dee Snider at the congressional hearing for should metal be censored. And oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That whole story is just epic. He schooled them completely. Al Gore and Al Gore's missus. Because the T-shirt thing reminded me where she said she got this T-shirt and you went, yeah, that's not our merchandise.
but it's the same when you hear like Rob Halford and people like that talk about it. Like, oh, these are actually quite intelligent, serious people who have actual valid, genuine points. So yeah, no, I love all that.
Truly epic.
I love all that. So on the back of David's comment and also from Viper, Bushy, do you collect any kind of toys?
I am more a board game collector than I am a toy collector, I would say.
Okay.
Downstairs below and underneath the stairs, we've got all the kind of the board games, and it ranges from kind of old school Monopoly and Scrabble right through to Wingspan and kind of all sorts of stuff in between. I had Hero Quest and Ghost Castle and kind of all the stuff.
Are you familiar with a board game called Escape from Atlantis?
Yes.
It's a good board game.
If you can find a game, and I've still got my copy of it from when I was a kid, there's a game called 13 Dead End Drive.
Oh, okay.
And you build it up, and basically there's 13 guests that come round to read a will. And you have to kill each other off. It's brilliant, honestly.
It's like
it's done so well,
Cluedo, but brutal.
Yeah. You could flick people off stairs. The fireplace would fall on them, and all sorts. It's yeah.
There was like the mid-90s. There was a huge surge in board games that also had either VHS tapes or cassettes. Like
Atmosphere. Me and Bushy were talking about them last week.
Atmosphere, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I had the Star Wars one with Darth Vader, and every now and again he go, "You, the player, stop." I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Are we thinking that underneath Bushy's abode there is a Scrooge McDuck style vault that just has dice as opposed to coins?
Totally.
Imagine.
It could be.
Swimming.
It could be.
He has some.
I have got a lot of dice as well.
Gary,
yes.
Talk to me about toys because you've been digging some out. You've been digging some.
So I was surprised at the amount of stuff I've got. Now I've got some more modern stuff. And listen, I know you guys are still pining after Aaron. So
Aaron's actually just popped.
Hey Aaron, this is for you. And I know the guys are missing you. So I've brought a Power Ranger along. Look
at this.
Look at this. It's a thumb action mod. Look at the size of the sword and that action. So there you go, Red Ranger.
I was about to say it looks like a Pound Shop special, but that goes for every single thing involved with Power Rangers ever made ever.
It was totally a patch. I think the one I was most excited about. So this, you guys know about the nostalgia feels because that's probably why you're into this a lot. You know, there's like them golden toys. So there's a bit of a story behind this one. I remember buying it as a kid, and then I looked through the catalogue because that's what we had in those days. You had an old catalogue, and I saw the base that goes with this set range of figures and this particular character's base, and I was like, oh my God, I am saving all my pocket money for that. And I think I got up to £6 of the something like 55 I needed before I suddenly went, no, I'm spending it on sweets and stuff. And I actually had this little money bag in a little safe that was Gary's Tower of Doom, I think it was. And it's Doctor Doom. Oh, he's green, and I've got a green
He's
screen.
green, you got a green screen on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But he's got the shield. It's Secret Wars. He's got the gun on the back, which only last week I realised slots in the back. He's got the pistol. And it was, Secret Wars Doctor Doom. That was the toy I got most excited about. I wanted the tower, and I may have looked on eBay.
Do you know?
It's still quite an expensive piece, I think. The Tower of Good.
So Gary, you watch Johnny's Sunday auctions with from Fistful of Collectibles. Doctor Doom is his all-time favorite character. I don't know. So he's called Victor. Yeah. As in Victor Doom.
Victor Von Doom. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think he was named after Doctor Doom, but I am very convinced that because he's called that, he fell in love with the character of Doctor Doom. So yeah, that's his all-time favorite character, Doctor Doom.
Oh man, yeah.
You can't prove that he wasn't named that because of Victor Von Doom.
Maybe he was. Maybe it was something we just don't know about him.
Now,
but yeah, you've been digging up all sorts, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've got a complete quick kick with backpack and sword and nunchucks.
Lovely.
So and it's kind of Action Force. Action Force was my bag. So this was funny because I showed this to Johnny and Dan. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got this Baroness one, and she's got the gun." And then Dan goes, "You haven't by any chance got the backpack?" Oh yes, I have got the backpack.
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh my god!"
I have that same figure, mate, and I showed that was one of my top female toy figures. I think it's a brilliant figure.
And I've got to say, unlike most of my Action Force, I'm sorry for lowering the tone. She has a complete crotch.
There you go.
There's no breakage on those legs. The band's still really good.
Groins and thumbs normally will go on. And I don't want to correct you, Gary, but I think it's G.I. Joe at that point.
No. So I was an Action Force man because I got the comics. So I started with Battle, which moved to Battle Action Force.
Storm.
Battle Storm Force. Yeah, the guy that had the arm that had all the gadgets. Yep.
So I remember Johnny Storm, was he called?
Yeah, I've never bought any of them with G.I. Joe cards on the back. They all came with Action Force.
Then I stand corrected. Yeah, I have some of my. I've got Red Shadow stuff, which was Action Force.
Oh yeah. Now Dan hasn't seen this. Now I don't quite know what realm this goes into. This is sort of obscure, but it all works. It's missing one bit, which is the cardboard base piece that goes with it. But I don't know how interested in this people are.
Look at that.
That is impressive.
From my childhood, genuinely. It's got all the bits, including the instructions. I'll quickly assemble it.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It looked like on the front of the box, you had a kid throwing it like a frisbee.
Like launching it. I'll show you one use only written underneath it.
Yeah.
But
make it worth it.
I always used to think this was the peak of toy technology, right? Because then you point it up and you point it down and it shoots. It's got, so that's complete.
1,000 parents just get immediate PTSD, like that sound.
Yeah, because there was the Avenger, which was the big white one, which didn't have a handle. This one's got a pistol grip, which is easier to use. And then the Avenger you held like that, which my mate had. And I remember having fights, and it would keep a track of your score, how many times you shot each other.
Yeah, there was like a white. That's a different thing. There was like a white shuttle that had similar noises, like a white spacecraft thing. Yeah.
Speaking of battles with each other, it'll be up in my mum's attic. But I did have a game. Was it called Lock On? It was like a visor that you wore that you could wear, and you had guns, and you just used to run around and shoot each other in the visor. And
I remember that.
The visor gave you the score on it. Yeah.
I remember that. That was that, and then they started making laser quests and stuff. And
yeah.
We call that Lock On.
Yeah, it was Lock On. There was a couple of different brands, but
That's that. I'm sure that's the one I had. It's all up in my my mum and dad's loft.
I'm surprised Johnny hasn't raided your loft yet, Bushy.
I've got one more for show and tell. Because I've got to apologise to Dan because I've just been bombarding him with pictures of all this stuff I've been finding again. Dan, I'm so excited. Look what I found. So we've got GoBots, and I now know that this is called Dive, thanks to Dan.
So, Andy, you sold me. You sold me this one.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love that figure.
He's cool.
The only thing I thought unfortunate about him is if you don't switch the wheels back, it's sort of positioned in an unfortunate place.
He's a
fold
suggested
behind.
GoBot.
Yeah, he talks, which if anybody's watched RuPaul's Drag Race, that's an important aspect. So we were learning when we were kids. That's what
I love those. I love those little figures. There's a tiny green. I want to say like a Martian spaceship. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a little green one. Yeah, and that and Dive are the two. I never had them, but my friend did, and like you say, a bit of nostalgia. They're only little.
I had an F-16, but that was rubbish, and that's gone. But I remember the cartoon being really rubbish.
Well, you were talking about that, Andy, about GoBots being not good.
Yeah, I don't remember it being amazing. I mean, I don't think I've seen all of it, but yeah, just compared to Transformers.
Yeah.
Transformers was a whole different league.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna skip all the comments of me getting ripped because
No, it's usually me getting attacked. This is good.
I'm scared I'll get absolutely annihilated. I do like Kate Bush. I do like skateboarding. And what? There you go. I'm assuming that's someone for Gary. We weren't all new Gary. Some of us knew what we were doing. Kind of. Some people knew what they were doing. What's the Viking saying? D&D is as hard as fun as you make it. It's very true. It's very true. Homebrew games are pretty common too.
Yeah. So like the wrestling one I put together uses the D&D rules as a framework, and then you come up with all your own stuff.
So this is it. So I'm aware that there's like aliens based role play games, and am I right in saying, Bushy, you're running like a Lovecraftian Cthulhu? There's lots of them in that field, aren't there?
Yes. Yeah, there's loads. Me and Gary talk forever. So I would say if you get into any kind of role-playing games, you inevitably just buy books that you never end up playing, but you just have stacks of role-playing books that are different systems and different things. There's all sorts of stuff. There was a Lord of the Rings one I really wanted to do. There's a zombie one. It's called Outbreak Undead, and it's been designed. The way they designed it was to be based on real life, so less of the fantasy side. So it was like if you were going to make yourself as a character, and so if I've spoke with Gary, we were going to do it based in Nottingham. You had to get out of Nottingham to get somewhere safe. How long do you think you could survive?
Not long is the conclusion we came to for me.
Using the actual roads and that sort of stuff, and the
So you could base it. You could base
and your own real life skills. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of stuff. There's the Wheel of Time for people that like the Wheel of Time, and aliens and If you can think somebody should make a game of that, somebody already has. There's a My Little Ponies one for those of you that like My Little Ponies.
Big shout out to the bronies out there.
to piggyback on the so lots of people are talking about the Stranger Things. There's a lot of games that kicked off sort of from the back of that, where you play a group of kids investigating a mystery. We've done one on a stream before called Kids on Bikes, which is it's really rules light. You don't do a lot of dice rolling, and it's all about you're controlling the story. You wrestle with the DM to control the story and decide what happens. There's another one called Tales from the Loop, which there's an Amazon Prime series about, based on the artwork of a Scandinavian artist. But what I particularly like about that one is you all play kids, and the kids don't die in this game. It's an important fact. But each kid picks a 1980s song as their theme tune. And you can, at any point during the adventure, you can go, I'm playing my theme tune. And your kid character succeeds in whatever they were trying to do, however epic and unfeasible it was. As long as you activate the theme tune at that time, it just automatically happens. And lots of quirky stuff like that.
Bushy, what's your 1980s theme tune?
Huey Lewis and the News, The Power of Love.
Gary.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, man. I think it's probably, I'm going to be really cheesy with this. It's The Final Countdown by Europe.
It's totally fair. Andy.
You put me on the spot.
I have.
It's good you said that, Andy. When I was saying Huey Lewis, I was thinking, I hope this is fucking 80s now.
Oh, it is.
Oh.
Well, I'm saying Man in Motion. I'm saying Man in Motion.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a pump up song. Things get done when that song's playing. What's Si saying? Right. Again, you're asking me, but I'm not knowledgeable. Gary Bushy, what video games would you say incorporate things from D&D? God, I mean, nowadays, bloody all of them, innit?
Yeah.
Like, we've got Dark
Yeah.
Souls and like everything. Anything that's an RPG is pretty much.
If you like the old school games, go and check out Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, and Icewind Dale 2. If you really want something hardcore, go and check out D&D Temple of Elemental Evil. So these are all campaigns or games based around D&D. The first 4 are so much easier to play, but bear in mind you need to play as a group. You don't play as an individual, otherwise you'll just get nowhere. Temple of Elemental Evil was a dungeon crawl, so a campaign, and I've never played it, but the role play version of it, not the video game, but it was supposedly notoriously so hard to get through without like having multiple character deaths, because you were just bombarded with monster after monster. And so there is some really cool old school D&D games if you like them.
I'm willing to bet even video games like Doom were made by people that played D&D. There's just,
yeah,
all of that. I mean, it's in a dungeon. It's in a dungeon. Clues in the title. Christian knows we have weird compulsions to collect things. And
in good company. Yeah.
we know this. This
is not so much a support group, just a bunch of enablers, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely more enabling than supporting.
If you watch any of the videos that Aaron does on Empire Toys when we're kind of all together and out and about, it's just a bunch of dudes going like, "Yeah, you'll buy that. Oh, I don't know if I want it. No. You'll buy it.
£200. Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get it. It's like, I can't afford. You'll get it. You'll get it. All right, I'm buying this thing.
Buying it. Get home.
That's strange. The recent Empire Toys one I've seen, what I've taken away from that is someone will find something really cool, and then this hand belonging to Dan swoops in and grabs it and goes, "No, I'm buying that, mate."
That is outrageous. It's also so we had our little nicknames for each other, and mine is the Grabber. And I don't know if you've seen. There's a new film out called Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, and
I've seen it advertised. I haven't seen it, but
he's like a child snatcher.
Yeah.
You know what he's called in the film? The Grabber.
The Grabber.
So, excellent. Hey. How you doing? Aaron's back. I hope you got your business sorted out, mate.
Yeah.
I hope you picked your thing up. Lots of love for the Sega shirt.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, Aaron's doing a live stream tomorrow, 8:30. Correct me if I'm wrong, on Empire Toys, just as a catch up of where he's at and what he's up to. So if you're around, definitely jump on that. Lots of love for Aaron. Lots of love, and also who's Aaron?
Actually, I think
that's harsh.
Well, he won't let us forget Christian. He just keeps popping up. He couldn't make the show, but he's popping up in all the chat. I'm still here. No. I think Vic just dropped a video as well, actually. So check.
Yeah,
check
Vic just dropped it. I think from Southampton Comic Con. So make sure you guys.
I want to. Yeah, I'll give that a little
for sure.
Peruse.
To compare that, I hope you are well.
Oh,
so
I imagine those guys would be good dungeon masters.
Oh yeah, but Barney and Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Look, from Ollie, the very first piece of Ninja Turtles merch was a role-playing game book.
Amazing.
In fact, didn't Johnny? What did he have the other day? He found
the Ghostbusters one.
Ghostbusters.
The original Ghostbusters.
There we go. Tony's asking, was there ever a role-playing game based on the film The Warriors?
I think I've seen one. Yeah, it's got the Warriors on the front cover, then all the gangs pictured behind them, I believe.
I'd imagine heavily on the Baseball Furies, because they're the ones that everyone loves from the Warriors. I mean, myself included. I collect them as figures. Yeah. Hey, buddy. I hope you are well. I mean, I'm 100% you're talking about the film and not.
I mean, it's not specified.
Well, Carlos has a question. What year is that Space Intruder?
Oh, it's early 80s. I think it's like, for some reason, so I had a childhood that lasted longer than 1983, but it seems to be everything I've found is like about 1983. It must have been a good year. I don't remember getting loads of toys. Look, I was from a very poor working class family, and I'm just like, I don't remember getting a big.
1984 comes around, and bing, it's like big. You're 30, and
I think it's more in 1983. A young Gary got a toy for Christmas. Hey! Never got a toy again. So, Andy, Gary's getting into something you know a little bit about, rebanding figures.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So,
I've done one. I need to buy some bands.
Andy's a bit of a whiz with the Master Universe figures. You are good at that.
I mean,
I actually quite enjoyed doing it. It was a Scarlet or Quarrel. She's the Action Force multi G.I. Joe one without the pegs in the feet. I know that much. She's not got the holes.
Is she green and black?
Yes.
That's
I think she's a repainted Scarlet or something.
Yes, Quarrel. She's got like a little bike and sidecar, isn't she, with a machine gun?
Yeah, I don't have that bit.
I've never done a G.I. Action Force or G.I. Joe one. They the little O-rings, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I carefully did it the other day, and I was like, oh, that's quite good.
It feels nice when you've accomplished it at the end, right? It's like, oh.
Yeah. I had to scavenge a bit from a badly broken Zaymot and Tomax, so but I thought it was worth it.
I've realised I have about 4 sets of those twins. I've really got to sell some more stuff, which I will be doing in the near future. And have you got any pickups this week? I didn't ask you. I've got no new pickups this week.
So Brad sent.
Oh, let me make you big. Let me make you big. Ooh. Making you big. Oh, okay.
For my Hawaiian shirt club.
That's pretty cool.
That's with Lilo and Stitch, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, someone told. I didn't actually know what it was from first, but yeah, it's from Lilo and Stitch. The baddie.
He's the scientist that creates him.
Okay.
Project 626, I think. Yeah.
That was a nice little gift. So thank you very much. No, then as I showed earlier, the only thing I did manage to do was finally make my crane.
You made his crane.
Made my crane.
Hey.
What did Andy do? What did Andy do when he had coronavirus? Made a crane.
I made a crane. Oh, and I did make oh no, I can't get it now. But I got for my birthday, I got like a snap kit for a Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah, you said you're getting a little bit of modelling.
Not getting into it at all, but like I thoroughly enjoyed making it. It was therapeutic, but it's led me to think maybe I'll try and do another Warhammer set, but it's not going to happen. I'm kind of so one of our good pals, Rye of Rye's Toys and Stuff, who's often lurking off and on here. He won't be watching tonight because he's not a fan of D&D at all. If he was a true friend, he'd watch it. I mean, come on.
But you know what? I might be lying. Actually, I think I might be lying. I think he will watch this one. He's just got back into painting Warhammer stuff, and he's got a little station set up, so that he's super into it. I think it's next week he's not going to watch.
What, like that?
Yeah. Is that Elder?
Is that?
Yeah. So that's a conversion I did for my Autark on jet bike, because if you're the boss of the Eldar, you wouldn't ride your own jet bike, right? You'd have a minion to pilot it for you. So
Gary takes all of the armies that nobody likes. Blood Bowl teams.
30 years I've been collecting them. I hung in, and we finally got good rules for them, and now they've ruined 40k.
Gary is the most old school of elitists. It's like, I was into having a Skaven army before it was cool. Now everyone likes this.
Well, I worked at that company for a decade, and one of my jobs, I did work as a mail order picker when we had lead miniatures, and every 6 months we used to have a blood test to see if we were dying from lead poisoning, which was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, well, they're called lead figures for a reason, right? They used to be lead.
His hair was originally like Slash before then.
Yeah.
I
had all my teeth and everything.
Yeah. Damn you, Games Works. I was particularly interested in and disappointed when so the games that I enjoyed playing that we've spoken about were Blood Bowl, Necromunda, some of those sorts of games. But I really liked the game, but particularly the models for a Dark Future.
Yeah.
I know they're like they're like 2/3 of the scale. Do you know what I mean? They're a really weird scale. But I remember them being so cool when I found some in a pot there. Like I sold loads of stuff on eBay many years ago. I found some and I'm like, oh, there's just no definition to them at all. They're really quite basic molds. Still cool though. I like the Mad Maxness of it all. It's cool.
Now I grabbed something else from my what I call my gaming basement, which is actually my friendly local gaming store. So what do you guys feel about the Joy Toys stuff? So we've got a set here. I mean, that I didn't think much to them, and then I saw someone had one of the war suits. It's called an Invictus war suit, which is a massive dreadnought type thing. Yeah. And the guy had it, and he showed it out on the table, and I went, "Oh my god, that's so good."
So are they 1/18 scale?
Yes. So they are like that big.
Yeah,
well, it's like 1-to-1 on the box.
So funnily enough, so TJ Figure Customs 118 or Thomas. I buy lots of my paints and brushes in the Warhammer shop. When I show 118 figures, they paint they're cheap because the size of the miniatures. So TJ Figures makes some excellent customs, some really excellent customs.
No, wait, right, I need to check that out.
Of all sorts, from like Judge Dredd, and he made me a brilliant Rick Rude. Just whatever. Literally, he makes customs of all sorts of stuff.
Because I've got a McFarlane Marine as well that I'm currently painting up.
I thought you might. Thank you, Brad, for saying that. That's awesome.
I did. Thank you.
I know you did. Yeah, thanks, man. 1/18 scale is a cool scale because it's. 1/18 scale is. Am I right? It's slightly smaller than G.I. Joe.
Oh no! Actually, no.
Sorry, massive.
Yeah. No, these are massive. Sorry, yeah. Let me just stick Destro. So they're actually they're bigger. They are bigger than that. I can't.
No, yeah, it's not. You're putting them at the bottom. You're doing where people measure weird.
No, actually, this isn't one to. Right, hang on. I'm trying.
It's like he's tiptoeing.
Yeah, he's like.
Oh, it does say 1/18 scale. No, but I remember when the guy bought them in, they were a bit big. They were bigger than this.
I don't think they are, mate. 1/18 scale. I'm trying to think of what 1/18. So my Matrix APU, that's 1/18 scale. Okay.
Must be. Yeah. It says it on the box.
I think that they're about. I'm just trying to. Oh, hold on a sec. Hold on.
Dan's always got some. So I should let everybody know we play D&D obviously with Dan, and I'll come up with a crazy monster that we're fighting, and Dan will go, "Hang on a minute," and he'll reach down to the side and he goes, "Does it look like this?" And I'm like, "Pretty much, yeah."
Can't like that. Yeah. So that's that's 1/18 scale. So now I'm looking at it. I'm thinking that probably is the same scale as G.I. Joe or Action Force. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have a unit of Terminators and Space Marines mixed with your Cobras, mixed with your Cobra Commander and your.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool. Random question: do I ward? You have to, I don't know what that word is, Brad. I
think he's asking you want that candy.
Do I want? Oh, dude, I love nerds. I like dweebs, but I don't have any teeth left because I used to like them too much. So, and anything that's like super sugary, I can't eat.
Now you just swallow them whole.
He hard lines them.
Yeah. I used to be my life. Yeah. I used to love the old double packs of nerds and dweebs. So look, what's Tom saying? People are buying the new Buzz Lightyear carrier ships and repainting for the Warhammer troop carriers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's my friend Tom that I've introduced you to. Different Tom. Yep. Yeah, he's big on. Like I think it's 40k. Did Nurgle do 40k as well?
Yeah. It's Death Guard that he was painted up. Yeah,
all that sort of stuff, and like taking old school. So I used to like Land Raiders, Predators, Rhinos. They're the original molds in them, and people customizing them all over the shop. Do I like? Sorry, man. Yeah, I do. But like I say, I like them for about 5 minutes until I realised that I don't like having no teeth, which is what's currently happening in my life. So
I'm already there. It's no problem.
Yeah. So if anyone's got any more, sorry, we kind of went off on a bit of a weird tangent, but I've enjoyed our chat. So and that's all it really. That's what it's all about. Andy, have you got any D&D based questions? I want to talk about dice.
I want to know more about the dice because there's all the different when I said to Dan, "Oh, I bought some dice," he was like, "You just need a normal dice." I was like, "No." It's like in all the pictures, and when I was like googling like Dungeons and Dragons dice, like a set, they all different shapes, different sides.
Yeah.
Dan was adamant you just need a 6-sided dice. So I was like, "But why then did they send me a 7-pack?" Like different shapes and sizes.
So for D&D, your main one will be the 20-sided dice. So any
right,
skill checks that you're going to do, so all your stats are based on, you roll this dice and you add the number that's in your stat block.
Right.
Bushy's just cracking open a brand new set of dice because he hasn't opened it.
That's it.
Yeah. All the others are still used in the game. You've got the D4, which is the little caltrop shaped one. Yeah, the really lethal one. Yeah. So these
but they've got the same numbers on the same side.
Yeah, but wherever it lands,
So you can get two different types of them.
Yeah,
so some are where they at the top is your, so that for me would be 4, but you get some where they're at the bottom. So they tell you where they are.
Yeah. Don't get them done.
And if you rolled that, whatever the point of the pyramid was, that's the number that you've rolled. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Gotcha. Now that
it's
makes
just
sense.
gives you different random numbers. So what you'll find is D4. For instance, when Dan's character Lord Flashheart is chugging a healing potion, I'll say to him, it gives you 2d4 plus 4 hit points back. So he'll roll 2 of these, add them together,
and add 4 to it,
and gives him a pitiful amount of hit points back because he doesn't deserve to get healed.
Jokes on Gary because I never get injured because I'm so wily. So it's fine.
Then next one, you've got the D6, which anybody that has played any tabletop games, so Warhammer or 40k or anything, will be familiar with. Yep. Again, these are normally used so it's to simulate the damage of different weapons. So a short sword, a one-handed sword, will do D6 damage, whereas a two-handed sword would probably do a D8 damage, which is like the double pyramid.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
So you've got a chance of doing more damage because you're hitting with a bigger thing. And then you go up to... Oh, I've got 2 of these. So you go up to D10, which I'll come back to in a minute. So this looks like something out of Star Trek.
That's a normal D10.
Yeah, so normal D10. So you roll that will be something like an axe, like a double-handed axe would do that sort of damage.
Yeah.
And then you've also got a D12, which is starting to get a bit more circular. And then the next one up is you're back to your D20, which is that one. Which again is used for skill checks.
And then
what's the one with double figures on it?
Yeah, in our sets, in the normal 7 sets, you get the.
Now this is where D10s get really good. So you combine that with your other D10, and you roll them together, and it gives you a number. It gives you a number from 0 to 100. Okay. So it's called a D100 when you roll them together. You can do it with a normal D10 as long as you say this one is my 10s, this is my units. But you normally get in a proper dice set like you've got there. You get the double-digit D10 and the single digits, which is showing up.
I bought a proper dice set. See, Dan, I didn't just buy a regular dice set.
I didn't say it wasn't proper. I just said there's no such thing as like. Well, I suppose there is. You just said I want a Dungeons and Dragons, a D&D dice set. I'm like, well, it's just a dice set. You know what? When we used to play back in the day, my brother had a D100, and I missed that.
A proper, yeah. It's like a golf ball. Yeah, it's really hard to read though.
Yeah, you're like, I don't. You have to get like a spirit level to see what's actually on top, what the actual number is, but.
Now, the D100 is probably my favourite set because me and Bushy play Call of Cthulhu. We've played a lot. And anybody that wants to get into role-play games that likes Stranger Things, again, if you want the horror aspect, Call of Cthulhu is really good. So D&D is kind of your gateway RPG. There's so much of it available out there. It's dead easy to get into. You basically play superheroes in D&D because no matter what gets thrown at you, you can pretty much punch your way out of. Yeah. So you can go absolutely wild in D&D. When you fancy a change and you think this is all very well, but everything we've punched in the face, and there's no more things to punch in the face. We need a challenge. What you generally find is people start looking for something else, and that's when they go across to Call of Cthulhu, which all the stats. It's actually a little bit easier working out stats, are percentage based. So your strength will be a number out of 100. If you've got a score of 50, it means you've got a 50-50 chance of doing something strength-based. and that's when you roll your D100 because you have to get under your score. So if you have a strength of 70, rolling under 70 on a D100 is a 70% chance. So it's quite good. Yeah. It's really easy to figure out what your chances are. Yeah. The downside to Cthulhu is you play normal people. You can die from being punched in the face. It's not about fighting. It's about this creeping horror. And the longer the game goes on, your character is going to die or go insane because there's this mechanic where certain stats erode away the longer you play the game. And it's beautiful, and we're going to get Dan playing it at some point. Definitely,
I'd love to. I love a bit of Lovecraftian existential old ones horror very much, very much so. So let's see what Christian is saying. Kind of relieved to hear the love for Warhammer. It's just bought a load. Has been enjoying painting again. Yeah, man. Yeah,
I picked up Horus Heresy. I'm slowly chipping my way through that.
I enjoyed playing certain games, but I never developed any level of ability with regards to painting, and I'm incredibly impatient. So when someone gets their single head brush out to do the eyes, I'm like throwing them against the wall by that point. So
fine liner.
I never played it, but I painted them.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you enjoy painting them. Yeah.
I never played it, but yeah.
See, I've done neither of those things in which I've bought the armies. And I've never painted them, and thus I've never played them either. So I've got is it Cursed City?
Yeah,
I've got downstairs with all the board games, and it's only been this year I've taken it out of its cellophane, looked at it, and gone, "Oh yeah, I need to play this at some point. I'll maybe make the models together." Back in it goes.
I mean, you're in the right place for non-judging, because how many toys have we ever bought that we've bought and then just stuck somewhere, and then 2 years later, and one day when he has the space, Andy will unleash what's in his various storage spaces, and it really is quite impressive, I would say.
I feel like I've been getting rid of things faster than I thought, because I was looking for stuff the other day and was like, oh, where's that gone? Realised I think I've sold it.
Well, you've still got, I mean, you've still got a complete run plus of vintage Star Wars figures and all that sort of stuff, so yeah.
I noticed we've not had much in way of turtles. Again, I pinched this. This is like a fat Mikey, which Aidan, my lad, actually absolutely loves. So
that's cool.
I've just got about. I got a really quick story. So when we were talking about when I started DMing, my first time DMing with the kids and my other half M. Dan, you are now aware what happens when your character dies in D&D. You get. If you get taken out in combat or anything, you have to do a thing called death saving throws.
Get the death roll.
If you fail 3 death saving throws in a row, your character dies properly. But until that point, you're just unconscious. This may have happened to my other half's character, to M's character, and she failed to her death saves, and it became a big moment in the little campaign we were running, and my kids got really worked up about it. And my youngest, Aidan, he's got autism, so it was very real for him. So much so, when he went back to school, I then had an interesting conversation with the head teacher of the school, who then said, Aidan's really upset because he says you killed M. And I was like, no. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, no. Well, what has he witnessed? I'm like, oh, we were playing D&D. It was death save. She's not really dead. I'm like, can we see her? I'm like, no.
I'm glad we're that way. He didn't turn around and be like, no. I didn't kill her. She didn't roll the correct dice.
It was justified.
It's how we play the game in our house. Oh, blimey. But yeah, so to wrap it up, unless Andy, have you got any more questions? Any more?
No, but I see one from Pete, which I quite want.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, what's the longest game that you guys played?
Well, we're still in it, aren't we?
Yeah, 8 weeks, wasn't it, Dan? We were going to have you for.
Well, I said to Andy, like Johnny's asked if I'm available to do like a cool little D&D thing, and I think I'm going to do it. And it's like because wasn't it originally like Monday nights?
Yeah.
I can do Monday, so I don't play football anymore. That's fine. Then it's Sunday. Oh, Sunday. It's only till Christmas. Yeah, I can do till Christmas. And yeah. But you've been playing that campaign for how long before I joined?
a good year before. Yeah, it's been going a good 2 years. So it started off me, Bushy, Lost Boys, Pete, and Johnny. I mean, John is the glue that's sucked us all into this and pulled in everybody. But Bushy will agree. The biggest thing with role play groups is you tend to get a good maybe 3 sessions where everybody's keen and wants to play, and then all the excuses start coming out. And, you know, life gets in the way. It's a hobby, and people go, "Oh, I can't do this week because I'm visiting the in-laws." And what you find, you get 3 sessions out of a campaign and then nothing. So to have one that's gone for 2 years is we're in a very lucky place. So
I guess to caveat that, it's not quite. So it's 2 campaigns that you've run. And the stuff before that. So when we're on about games lasting years, the groups can last for years, but your campaigns. So we did like Descent into Avernus has been running for probably 9-10 months. We did Waterdeep Dragon Heist, which probably lasted around a similar time.
Yeah,
I think there was a gap in between, but I can't quite remember. So your story arcs tend to be smaller, but once you find a group that you that turn up regularly, like Gary said, but you connect with, you have a good time with, kind of riffing this stuff out, then keep the party going.
Well, I'm going to say, you could have a really good D&D session in a one shot, one game. You could have a really good session in 2 or 3, like Gary's saying, and maybe take some time for whatever. I'm particularly keen on the relentless never-endingness of it all, which is, as you guys know, as once it's in the diary, that's the reality of my life. You're free on Wednesday night? I'm not. You're free on Sunday night? No, I'm not. But
well, yeah, we had a 2-week break, and you were begging for one-shots, weren't you, Dan? So we just got together,
we did some
one-shots together.
The more you do it, the more you put into it, in my opinion, the funner it becomes, because you get to know the people you're playing with, you get to understand what works, what doesn't, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about amusing yourself as much as possible without upsetting everyone else. So if everyone is amusing themselves and each other, then everyone's amused, and it's a good time.
And in terms of a single session, we attempted an all-nighter for Halloween once, which was it was a Cthulhu game. I think we managed about 6 hours of non-stop play. It's pretty wearing, but as long as you've got enough story.
We started 10.
Yeah,
we go 10 through, and then
was that
you wanted to carry on as well?
It was streaming. Yeah.
It was streaming. I reckon if it was in person, I reckon you could do a 24-hour session, not easily, but like you could, because you're there.
Yeah.
But if doing it like on a screen would murder you after a little bit. Yeah. No, all good. Thank you very much, Ben. I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Sorry, we've hijacked your stream this week.
No.
It's been really interesting. I'm
cool.
Maybe gonna give it a go.
We'll
should
won you a game, I'm sure.
I think you should, mate. I think you should, because you know what? You bought the dice.
Mate, I'm technically there now. I was looking for a book for like Dungeons and Dragons for Dummies, seeing if I could have a read of that first.
Dummies and Dragons.
I think it's called the Essentials kit now. Comes in a box, has a little introductory thing.
Okay,
it's actually really good value for money as well. You get more dice in there. I think you get another set of dice.
Hannah was looking at the setup, and the D&D Beyond setup really does enable anyone to play relatively. Once you've gone through a setup again, which people like Bushy and Gary are very generously help you go through. You set your character up. She was like, "Oh, it wasn't like this when I played. Oh, this is awesome. This is much better. This you can." I'm like, I'm going. Click. Brum, oh, I can play D&D. But yeah, the more into it you get, the more into the character, the more into the rules and whatever, the more rewarding it is, because you can outsmart situations, or in Johnny's case, just simply turn into a gas and float away. But yeah, so before we leave you, if anyone is interested, we play on Sunday nights from 8 o'clock onwards. So can one of you give the shout out, because I don't know what platforms right now. It's Tales from the Lost Emporium But what
Yeah.
platforms are you on at the moment?
Tails FTLE, I think, is the best way to find it. We're YouTube, Twitch, and we'll be on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, you can go and
We've
like
got a
that.
Facebook page.
Yeah. We've got a Twitter thing which we hardly ever post.
And if you want games, if you're genuinely interested, I know some people have said and they're looking for people. We'll always run between the two of us. We'll always run for people. So
Yeah.
drop us a message on the Facebook page
Yeah.
if you have a group of people and you just don't have somebody to DM, and we'll do that with you as well.
And you want to make Gary lose his voice very quickly. Oh.
Yeah, I played with COVID. Oh man, that was rough.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that one of the most gravelly East End market seller type characters happened to be on that week. But yeah,
Johnny played from his hospital bed once as well, didn't he? It was truly epic.
I got Johnny absolutely loves it, and we love him. He is the absolute best, Johnny. But yeah. All right, on that note, guys, so yeah, Tales FTLE, Tales from the Lost Emporium on all platforms. Go and follow it, go and like it. If you want to see me be an absolute legend, watch it live on Sunday. Thank you very much, Bushy, and thank you very much, Gary.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
And as always,
thank you, everyone.
Not gonna count you out. Hope everyone learned something. I certainly did. Yeah. All right. That's it. We haven't got credits like us. I'm just gonna do this and
We just do that.
Bye.
Bye.